Hi, in this short video, I'm going to run through a demo of using the human resource module in the Mango compliance software. So the first thing I want to do here is talk through and demonstrate the use of this module for retaining and adding human resource information associated to basic key information when a new employee joins, and also some additional information associated to training or document acknowledgements, etc., that this person may be involved in. So I've gone down to the human resource module within Mango. I click on employees to take me into my employee register, and I'm going to hit add to add a new employee. So the employee I'm going to add has got an employee number 109 and an ID of 109A. I'm going to add an image of my new employee, which uploads that information, and I'm going to give them a name. So here's a new employee that I am adding. I have some optional information around gender and so on that I can add, date of birth. In the case of this information, I'm going to leave that at the moment. I do know that this individual is going to be working in our European region and working from our London office. And the department that he is going to be working in is going to be in our health and safety department. Other is where I would capture information that might be associated to a person that works only in a certain project or a production line or something like that. In this case, that's not applicable, so I put NA. This is also where I can enter in the individual's phone number. So here we're going to register just the number at the individual's desk and their mobile number as well, which we're going to enter here. And we are going to give them their email address. So morgan.freeman@fqmlimited.com. We're now going to identify the position that the person is going to undertake. This is a position that we've already entered into the business. So we're going to identify this person as a health and safety advisor. And the person they report to is going to be our health and safety manager, which is John. And the date they started this position is today. They've not got an end date and they've got no period of time in this area. Some other information we can add here as well. So we're going to add in here also associated to the position. We're going to enter into here the individual's job description. So here we have their job description, which we're going to open and add. So there's the job description added. At this point, what I'm going to do is I'm going to hit save because I may have something else to do. So we now have the person added, as we can see. What I'm going to do is I'm going to outline to you associated to the position that we mentioned this individual was going to hold, which was an HSE advisor. This position was selected from a pop-up list. And as we can see, we can populate that list by going into our positions. So we see here if we type for HSE, we have the HSE advisor. We can see the HSE advisor currently doesn't have any skill requirements or a description associated to it. So if we edit this area, we can enter in here the description of what that advisor is. The HSE advisor is a key role in FQM and should be we could enter, a couple of things in here associated to this person that are maybe pivotal. And also we may want to add an attachment associated to this as well. So for example, we could put the job description in here. If this job description was for everyone that held the position of HSE advisor, we can select that job description and put it here. And what that would mean is it would pull that through to every HSE advisor that we identified. The other key area we can identify is, do all of our HSE advisors have to undertake certain skills within our organisation for them to fulfil their task? So we can click here and we can identify what skills they may have to undertake. So there might be a number of things that they have to complete. So we've got here some basic health and safety. We've got a first aid course we want them to do as well. And let's say that we identify also a couple of other things. So we can select them from this area. We hit OK, and we would save that there. And when we hit save, we know that our health and safety advisor has got this information through them. So if we go back to the employee and we search again for that individual, we want to go into the edit mode again, and we want to be able to bring in some additional information. So we may want to add information here, we may want to do that at a later date. And if we go into the other details, this is where we can capture some additional information. So here we've got this individual is going to drive for the company. So we may have their driver's license on file, and we may want to add a copy of that driver's license here. We might want to add the information associated to their driver's license here. And if there is an expiry date associated to it, we may want to enter that as well. So here we've got that information. If there's any conditions, we can place them here. So, or leave it blank, no conditions. What is the particular license type? And the type of license that you can identify is set up in the system admin area. So we've identified here that this individual has got the ability to ride a motorbike, light goods and a car. And we can see here that this driver's license has been verified by the individual that undertook the induction. And we've attached the information. We also want to recognise that the individual has gone through some additional induction checks. So medical condition, so all good. That was viewed again also in this case by our HR person, and the date it was viewed was yesterday. And we've completed some reference checks as well. These references were handled by HR and HR again. We have an induction checklist, so our HSE manager undertook the induction checklist, and that induction checklist was completed yesterday. And there's no associated risks to this individual, and there's no concerns around occupational requirements or anything like that. So we don't have any concerns that we have to raise here. What we are going to do is we're just going to add some additional information that would be relevant to the induction of this individual. So we have in here our induction checklist, which we're going to put in here. So we've got this basic information. We also have information around next of kin that we can enter. So this would be associated to the individual's next of kin. At this stage, we are simply going to save again. So we've got the employee's basic information loaded. However, we do want to recognise that there are certain skills they need to have, certain training and so on and so forth. And also we've been provided with some private information that the individual has suggested that we keep on file. So we keep this information in a separate locked away area that typically is only accessible to human resource. And this is, let's see if we have anything. Yep, we have a health questionnaire that the individual undertook, which we've added here. And we put in here what this, so we may just say refer to save. So we now have this additional private information added to this individual as well. There may be some monitoring that we have to do for this person. So if there was, this is where we would add that monitoring. So for example, this person may require to be face fit tested or may have to do hearing tests. And this is something that we can set up. So for example, the face fit test, we can add as a monitoring activity. And we can see here that we can identify who it was assessed by. And of course, in the assessment, we have the capability to identify external individuals or internal individuals and what that monitoring status is. So they passed the face fit test. The date they completed the face fit test was yesterday. And if we wish, we can browse and attach a certificate associated to that. So we may have something we wish to capture there. Okay. So we hit save here. We've got their monitoring activity. We jump back in here, and we also maybe want to record some PPE items that were issued. So we identify from our drop-down list of what those PPE items are. And again, those are set up in the system admin area. So as someone inside the HSE department, they have to be provided by a number of different items. So they've been provided with boots, and they got those boots yesterday. And also what we have here is we've also got a bunch of other items which were provided. So we've given them a hard hat. Again, this was provided yesterday to them. And also we provided them with a mask. And again, it was provided yesterday. This is also a good place if we wish to add items that were provided to them that are not associated to health and safety. So for example, they may have been provided with an iPhone. And again, the date of that iPhone we may have to put here. And of course, we can put a note associated to that. So iPhone registration number. Okay. And lastly, we may have a laptop or something like that we wish to add. We may want to keep a record of all the items that have been provided. So we may have a sign-off form that HR uses, and we can capture that inside Mango as well. It just gives us this additional confidence to demonstrate that they have been provided with everything and they've signed to say it. So we upload that document here and we hit save. So we now have a record of everything associated to this particular person. And we can see here this green tick identifies where certain items may have a renewal date based on a contract or something like that. So this is set up, as I said, down in the system admin area. We go back to the individual here. So we've added some monitoring, we've added some PPE. We now want to record the qualifications that this person has came in with. So we edit here and we add some qualifications. So we browse to get their certificates. So we go to the area where their certificates are held, and we have here that we have a certificate of a NEBOSH qualification, which we can add, and we enter the information here. So NEBOSH qualification, qualification, and the date that the person obtained that qualification. So we may say here the individual's had it for some time. And we might have another few qualifications. So we just browse and add those certificates that are relevant that we want to retain. So we have here also that the person has completed internal audit as a form of qualification. It may have occurred before the individual came to us. We want to record that as well. So internal audit qualification. And the person is telling us that he completed that just last year. So we've got that information now recorded on file. We hit save and it retains that information with their associated certificates. We have a skills area, and as you can see, the skills area has brought through from the position where we added these two skills, which are a basic health and safety e-assessment and a first aid e-assessment as well. It's showing these as unskilled because these will now have gone into this individual's to-do list, which when they log on to Mango, they can access this from their profile. However, we may want to record some additional skills that they may have completed, and they may have to be refreshed upon. So we go in and edit here again. We go to the skill. We know that the individual is going to be working in confined spaces. So we add the confined space, and we can see that they have a certificate on file that says that they are a skilled individual in confined space. We do have it on file, and we identify here that the person has completed that, and we're aware that they completed it last year in this date. There was no cost or anything associated to it, and we don't have who it was assessed by, but we have got a copy of their certificate on file. So we go to this individual's confined space certificate and we upload it. So if we save at this, we can see now that we have the 2 qualifications added, and we have the 2 in-house skill e-assessments that have to be completed. And we also have a record of their confined space being completed. And as you can see, we identify confined space as a 3-year refresher, which is built into the skills when we set it up. So Mango automatically knows that the date that it was completed, there is a 3-year refresher that comes after that. And we can see here that this 3-year refresher is shown in this way. Okay, we can click on event history and there'll be more information associated to that as time goes on. So we now have some basic information around their skills. There might be more skills that we need to add that they have to do before they go out onto the job, or there may be other additional skills as time goes by that we have to add. And this is a simple method of how we do that. We go back to the individual. We now want to also enter that yesterday they completed some ad hoc training, as we refer to it, which is just some in-house awareness training that we do for people that join the company. So when we click on ad hoc training, we're just going to click the add button, and we're going to browse and upload the certificate associated to that. So this is just a simple in-house certificate that's published by our HR department, and it was associated to health and safety awareness. So we give the name of the training, so H&S awareness. What type of training was it? So it was training in an in-house classroom that was done, and the training was done yesterday, all in one day, and it was a 1-hour awareness session. There was no cost associated to it. There was no external provider, and there was no location. But of course, if this was a generic ad hoc type training that someone went to an external location, and there maybe be a cost and an external provider, we can add that, as well as putting some information here maybe about the course content if we wished. And at the moment, that's all the information that we've recorded. So we hit save. So here we have now, if we go back to the individual, we can see here that we've recorded their information. We have recorded their driver's license information. We've got their induction checklist and their driver's license. We've got the information associated to their induction. We could populate their next of kin information. We have their competency captured here, where it's their qualifications, their skills, and the ad hoc training event that they completed, and also their PPE that they've signed off to say they've received. Now, we do also want to capture that this individual went through our full QMS system as well. So we want to record acknowledgement that this individual completed that. So here we can do that. And it's important to explain at this point that the document acknowledgement often happens when a new document version or a new document is added to the documents module. But in the situation where this individual has joined the company and these documents are not new documents or new revisions, what we have to do is we have to be able to demonstrate that they have read through these documents and understand them. So this is where we use the add multiple and we're going to click Add Multiple Acknowledgement, and we could do this with multiple employees if they started on the same day or the same week or the same month. So we're going to say here that Morgan undertook this review of this documentation, and the key ones that he looked at was our policy documentation. So we've got a whole suite of documents built into here around our policies. So we just identify the appropriate one which they undertook. So we have here a policies manual and the date that they acknowledged it. So that was yesterday they completed that. And if we wanted to, we could have them sign something to say that. So here we may have a document acknowledgement which they have signed. Let's see, so here's the acknowledgement of the documents, which is a small list. It's not necessary, but we may wish to do that. We then hit save, and we can see here that the record has been added. We may also want to say another area that the individual identified. So it might be that we have some information security documentation that's been added here. So let's just grab our information security policy individual. So this is some of our rules that they had to review and understand. And again, we've already uploaded the attachment, so it's probably not necessary to upload it again if it was all done at the same time. We hit save, and we can see again that it's added additional information. If we go back to the employee self, and it's important to recognise at this stage that there might be more skills or ad hoc training that we've done at the same time. So I'll just quickly run through this. As of today, we've done some additional ad hoc training, and we've done this with Morgan, and we've also done it with some of the other people in our organisation, which will just enter those records associated to it. So we've got these three individuals that we did some training with today. So it was our GDPR awareness training, and this is done in-house, and it's done through our online training system. So we hit OK here, and what the date was. So they completed that this morning when they came in, and it was again for 1 hour. No certificate or anything for this one. We just want to record that it was done, so we hit save. Now what I would like to do is jump back to this employee and just show you the status of their information. So we can see here now that we've still got the original email, original details, but if we go into the competence area, we can see now that we have some additional information added, which is the additional ad hoc training that was done. And we can see also that we have a record of the document change acknowledgement. So this is where the information security policy and the quality policy were reviewed by the individual, and here is the record associated to it. Some of the other areas that we would want to consider now for this particular employee would be associated to their access rights. So we click into their access rights, and we go to edit, and this is where we identify the username and the password that's going to be assigned to that particular employee, which we suggest when you provide that to them, they then go into their profile and change the password around whatever the policy and rules are within your organisation for passwords. And then we have some various restrictions in terms of their access. So this is around support for GDPR and information security. So where we want to provide them access to information because he's a health and safety advisor, we may want to restrict personal information, and we do that through the health and safety module, the accident incident module, the improvement module, the environmental module, and the food safety module. And where we select this, it means that individuals' names and personal information will be shown as asterisks instead of those details when the person is logged on in Mango. We can also restrict the individual as well if they are working in a certain area and we only want them to see employees' details in that area. Then we can say, for example, for Morgan, he's working in London, so we want to ensure that he only has access to the employee details within the London branch, which is within Europe. And of course, we've got our full suite of various options of what we want to access. I'm not going to go into too much detail about this on this session, and the access rights is fairly straightforward and forms part of your onboarding. But of course, there is the capability, once you've set someone up, that you can provide them with access profile, and this might be something that we would set up with you when you kick off a session with Mango. So that leaves me just to say thanks very much for listening to this. If you need any support or advice on Mango, then I would suggest you get in touch with us via our website. We've got lots of different videos that we've taken recently, and I would suggest that you subscribe to our YouTube channel and follow us on LinkedIn. Thanks very much.